Hi everyone, it's Tracy here again from Becoming Temperance, and my days that I was doing the 31 days of tarot got kind of out of whack, so I am going to put days 24 through 31 all in this video as the final video. So, question 24, your top 5 tarot books of the decade 2010 to 2019. And that was a lot of fun to come up with those. So I'm going to start with, again, Stephen Bright's Tarot, Your Personal Guide. I think this is a great beginner book and a great book of tarot card meanings. The next is Tarot on Earth by Tom Benjamin. Tom Benjamin and I do not read tarot the same way at all. But at the same time, I learned so much from working through this book about how I read tarot that I could not recommend this book more highly. I think it's a fabulous book, and it will really help you find your understanding of the tarot cards. The next one is the actual guidebook to the Mythic Tarot. Now this is an older copy where it's written in teeny tiny letters. If you get the new Mythic Tarot, it has the same guidebook and it's easier to read actually because it's a little bit bigger. But this book is one of the best guidebooks I have ever read, and I think it's worth getting that tarot deck just for this guidebook. It really, because it was taking Greek mythology and tying it into the tarot archetypes, it really taught me a different way to look at the tarot archetypes than the way that I'd been looking at them before. I think this book should be required reading for anyone who is a tarot enthusiast. This is Tarot, History, Symbolism, and Divination by Robert M. Place. This isn't his newest book, which is, I think, about twice as big. And this book is a bit of a difficult read. It's more like academic writing than a lot of the other tarot books that we're used to. But it goes so much into the history of tarot that, you know, it just changes the way you approach tarot because you really understand where it came from. And as a history major, I majored in history in college. That's definitely a place that I am going to want to come from, is a place of really understanding where something came from. And the way he ties it into, he explains how all the different layers were added to tarot throughout history by, the dudes in France and the dudes in France. I can't remember what they called themselves, the mystics in France, and then the Golden Dawn on top of that. He explains all of that in this book, and it's really fabulous. And it also includes tarot card meanings, which are good. They're not the best ones I've ever seen, but they are good still. The last book is The Secrets of the Waite-Smith Tarot by Marcus Katz and Talia Goodwin. I think this should be required reading for anybody who's a Rider-Waite-Smith fan, because this really does a great job of explaining Pixie's background and why so many of the people look like they're on stage, where the black cat came from, who the Queen of Wands is. So by delving into Pixie's life, they have discovered a lot about what she drew when she drew her tarot deck. So yes, I think this should be required reading as well. And this one's not that difficult to read. It's a pretty easy read. And you can see it's also got tarot card meanings in it as well. So yes, Secrets of the Waite-Smith Tarot. Number 25. If you could meet any tarot creator, author, who and when? Well, I want to meet any of them and all of them. I've always wanted to go to the Reader Studio in New York, but with my issues with my mobility and things like that, that's very unlikely. But I would, in addition to going to something like that, I would love to just be able to have a little meetup, maybe in Atlanta or something like that, where I could meet other tarot YouTube content creators. Because as a tarot YouTube content creator, I would love to pick their brains about what they do, what they're interested in, what they're not interested in, how they manage their channels with their other priorities, that sort of thing. So I'd love to see something like that happen. Question 26, show us your tarot journal if you have one. And this is the one that I am currently using. These are just stickers on the front of a sketchbook. I like sketchbooks for my journals because the paper's better and no bleed through, that sort of thing. So I use sketchbooks as my journals. It's pretty simple. I don't know if we can see that, but I write down, my daily draws, the the spreads that I do for my week ahead spreads. I put in some little ephemera here and there just to make it, to pretty it up a little bit. I've started doing that a little bit better. So yeah, something like this Buddha doodle that I really like. And write my, my tarot drawings in it. And if I'm out of town for some reason, I'll write them in a smaller book, because this book is pretty big, and especially if I'm on an airplane, I don't want to lug it. So I'll take a smaller sketch pad and, write my stuff in that while I'm out, and then paste it into the book when I get home. And this is also where I added my card of the year collage thingy. Question 27. What is the strangest place you've read from 2010 to 2019, and tell us about the reading? Well, again, I don't read for others very often, but I do have one friend that I read for on occasion, and she was looking to change jobs, and we were in a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I pulled out tarot cards and did a tarot reading for her in a Kentucky Fried Chicken. I also did do that charity event a few years back that I've talked about in another video that was in a museum. So that was fun too. Number 28. Ever turn someone from a tarot non-believer to a tarot enthusiast? And the answer to that question would have to be no. I don't. There are very few people who know that I read tarot. I live in the Bible Belt. I work for an insurance company. I just don't broadcast it. So there aren't a whole lot of people who know that I read, and I barely mention it to people that it's okay for them to know. And if they ask me more questions, that's fine, but that's about it. Number 29, your top 5 underrated tarot decks. Well, and I don't know that I would use the word underrated, but these are 5, well, actually there's 6 tarot decks that I don't hear a lot of people talking about that I think I should hear more people talking about. So let's have a look at these decks. This one is called the Lucid Tarot. It's available on makeplayingcards.com. It was created by an Instagrammer called Tarot Mom 13. You can find her on Instagram, Tarot Mom 13. And she just decided one day that she wanted to create a tarot deck, and she explained exactly, she used public domain images and some sort of program on her phone that sort of made the images look really cool. That's all I can say. It's way more work than I would have gone to. And I just love this deck, and I think more people need to know about it and go to makeplayingcards.com and buy the Lucid Tarot. Shameless plug. The next deck is the Indigo Alchemist's Tarot. This has got to be some of the worst cardstock ever created. It's right up there with Tarot of Transformation's bad cardstock. It came chipped. I don't know if you can see that the edges look kind of chippy. I haven't edged it, but that's because the back isn't black, and I would just create a line on the back. However, the images speak to me in a way that they just give me amazing intuitive hits. And look at the 6 of Cups with the girl blowing bubbles, or she's a woman. She stepped back into her past and remembered a time when she had fun blowing bubbles just for the joy of it, and I love that. So yeah, I don't hear nearly enough about this deck. I'm assuming it's still in print. I think I got it off of Etsy. But yeah, it's a fabulous, fabulous deck that I think more people should be talking about. Next is the Artist's Inner Vision Tarot. Yeah, Artist's Inner Vision. This one has been around forever. It's been around, I know, at least 10 years. It's a collaborative deck, but I would not have known that unless someone told me. And it's a collage deck. It is very different. It has a really interesting guidebook that talks about pop culture, about movies in particular. So for every card, it gives you movies that have the spirit of that card in them. And what's great about it is because the deck is quite old, all of these movies are available in some streaming service or another. So you probably have access to most of them. The Two of Coins is actually reversible. That is so cool. So I get great readings from the Artist's Inner Vision deck, and I really love it. Next is the Cook's Tarot. It is a bit glary. Sorry about that. It is Schiffer. But I love the artwork on this one. And the real world, again, real world situations that these people are in that speak to the archetypes of the tarot. And it's all about being in the kitchen and preparing food and eating food, cleaning up after food has been eaten, and that sort of thing. Like this one, King of Pentacles. This one's adorable. This is like holiday. He's had his holiday meal. He's having a nap, and the piece of pie is just waiting for him to wake up. So really, really love this deck. Again, it is Schiffer, so it's glossy and it is sticky, but it is worth giving a try. Next is the Prairie Tarot. I'm pretty sure this is still available. I think he sells it himself through Amazon. It's about $25. If you grew up like I did reading Little House on the Prairie, every single one of these cards makes sense. So that's one of the reasons that I love it, is because I can understand these cards based on having read those books hundreds of times as a child. And even as an adult. So yeah, and it's pretty standard Rider-Waite-Smith clone. But it's also, here we have a magician who's more like a street magician. The moon out in the desert. So yep, I love this deck. It reads really, really well. And no surprise here, not pulling this one out. I am going to once again plug my beloved Ellis deck. I think that more people should be talking about this deck because this is a really fabulous deck that reads amazingly well. So that's it for question 29. Let's move on to question 30. What tarot card do you feel best represents you, art, meaning, vibe, and why? Well, Temperance. And I pulled the Temperance card from the Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright because I particularly love this representation of temperance as a blending of two different things to create something new, which is, I so live in a compartmentalized world where I compartmentalize different aspects of my life, and I really strive to blend these aspects of my life to create a new me, a me who is not different at work from the me at home, from the me with my family. So that is one of the things I love about this Temperance card in particular, and that I can see in this Temperance card. Question number 31. What are your tarot goals for 2020? I just want to continue to learn and grow with tarot and connect myself with the divine using tarot and oracle. Thank you so much for watching. It has been a very long day recording all of this at one time, and now I've got to start editing it. I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a really fabulous day. Bye.